Conservative teens versus liberal parents. Jubilee banger. Jubilee banger. Dude, this might be crazy.
Is a social experiment that brings humans with opposing
That's a new
beliefs
take.
together.
Conservative
These discussions
teens.
may contain
Is
viewpoints
it
that are the
their
result of
parents,
misinformation.
or is it just
Remember to
like
seek out experts
parents in
and to
general?
be
Because
critical
that would
of
be
your own
wild
biases
if it
while
was
forming
like,
an opinion. Please see the humanity in each
you know,
participant, and as always, we encourage empathy.
before they start, it would be wild if it was like the parents and then their children and their children are conservative, but they're liberal. That would be a nuts episode. But I already know that I can do that. I already know it's gonna be like
you're
group.
equating some minor inconveniences in your privileged life to
Why would you assume my life
an
is privileged?
unsupported.
Oh yeah, this is a bang. Oh yeah, he's upset.
But why would you say my life is privileged, though? I mean, I don't say that about you. Why would you say my life is privileged?
I'm privileged.
Okay, that's fine, but why would you say my life is privileged?
For one, you're a man.
Oof, oh wow. Anyway, while I agree with her, it's not because he's a man, it's because of the fact that we all live in America. Being in America off rip makes you more privileged than a lot of other places. We have a lot of issues, a lot of problems. Don't get me wrong. America has a lot of problems. We have a gun problem, we have a mental health problem, we have poverty, all types of stuff. It can get a lot worse, you know? There's a lot of things that we have the privilege of having. Can you feel me? Like, you know, you could choose like your diet, you could choose whether you want to work out or not, you can choose like, you know, like to have lights on or off, stuff like that. Like some places don't have lights, some places don't have electronics, like technology at all. Like, you know, some places you eat what you can get and that's it, you know. Being able to choose like that is a privilege. And I would say most Americans are privileged in some way. That's just how it is. This is gonna be a banger though. This is definitely gonna be a spicy banger.
Step forward if you agree with the prompt. The government has no right to tell people what to do with their body.
Vaccines.
Oh, dude, hey, that guy's based. You sold up.
Vaccines.
Vaccines. They're like, oh, they're like, oh, you got me. Before they go, the government has no right to tell people what to do with their body. I mean, true. I mean, technically, the government should be, you know, should be using in the best interest of the people. So if the people want to be, you know, governed with their body, sure. But if the majority doesn't, you know, that's how it is. I think there should always be a choice, though.
The government has the right to tell you what you want to do with your...
Sorry.
Okay. I stood here because of vaccines, but I know a lot of you guys probably look at me like, oh, what about abortion? Now, the thing is, when it comes to abortion, two bodies are involved. It's the woman and it's the fetus. The fetus, you know, has a heart.
Oh, he doesn't agree with it.
It should have rights.
When?
Life begins at conception.
That's not when the heart's there.
Heart to beat starts at 4 weeks. It's not just a clump of cells, it is life. At 21 weeks, it can live outside of the womb. Abortion ends with murder and death.
Over 90% of abortions happen within the first 10 weeks.
That's still, I think that's not acceptable.
But they still have the potential of having life, though. The mortality rate of a fetus getting aborted is 100%. It's going to die when it's aborted.
And you're very lucky you'll never have to experience what it's like to have to make that choice.
But
Oof. Whoa. See, bro, they're so quick with it. They're so quick. You're so quick to say it, which honestly, true. You know, that is a true statement. Men will never fully understand what going through that is like. That is very true. You saw they shut his ass up real quick with that. How I feel, abortions, if you want to have one, go ahead. In a lot of situations, it's better. Sometimes it's better for everyone involved, even the fetus, to maybe not even have the baby sometimes. And I say this in the case of, like, you know, let's say you were a victim of sexual assault, rape, you know, let's say you're coerced into it, you're in a very bad situation, like, you know, sometimes you want what's best for your child, right? So you want to bring your child up in the best possible conditions, and I understand not wanting to bring a child into the world while you're at your lowest, stuff like that. At the end of the day, I feel like if you want to make that choice, there's nothing I or anyone could really do to stop you, you know, or should.
But what if I become a father and, you know, the woman who I got pregnant wants to have an abortion? It's going to affect me.
You would have a
He is
discussion
also
with your
true.
partner then and decide what you're going to do and be glad that you have a choice
course,
to
but-
even discuss with that partner.
Unfortunately, human nature, if you take away the
He's
option
also
or
not
the
wrong,
right to do that, then they'll
because a
fight
lot
it
of
another
times,
way.
And it will be
I know I'm stopping, a lot of times, a guy could get a girl pregnant and then he wants to have the kid, but at the end of the day, if she doesn't want to, that's wraps, which sucks. That's how it is, you know? So he also has a point, you know. What if he gets a girl pregnant and he's like, yeah, I'm ready, I'm ready to have kids, da 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 da, and then she's like, I'm not. Boom. Not happening.
safe.
And
if
would
I
you
don't have a
support the
choice-
mom? Would you support the mom in that scenario?
If the mom had an abortion or the
No,
mom
no,
went...
no, if she gave birth.
Oh, of course. I would support her. I'd say what you do is a good thing. And
No,
you
no, 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 support her financially for the rest of her life or for the rest of the baby's life.
Are you talking about, like, what do you mean me support her? Like, as a
Somebody-
citizen or?
If
as a-
somebody has a baby,
we do have child support, and it comes from taxpayer money.
There's foster care, there's adoption, there's mothers waiting.
those systems are very broken, and people all the time
Which
are
is also
trying to
true.
stop funding for programs like that.
Now, I want to ask you guys: do you support vaccine mandates?
Yes.
So I mean, you step forward and said the government shouldn't tell you what to do with your body, though. Why would you support?
My issue is that I believe that the government should not be able to tell me what to do with my body, but I have to accept the consequences for the choices that I make with my body.
Fair.
Vaccines, for
That's a fair
instance,
statement.
I absolutely felt that everyone should get vaccinated. Why? Because this was a pandemic. But if you don't want to, I don't think the government should have to tell you that you have to. But you then have to suffer the consequences of your choices, which means you cannot patronize certain places. You can't put other people at risk.
Which is
I know you're
fair.
saying they're doing it to protect us, but the coronavirus has, I think, a survivor rate almost 98%, 99%, and we're mandating these vaccines. Why are we not mandating the flu?
What's frightening to me is that you're equating some minor inconveniences in your privileged life to
Why would you assume my life is
Here we go.
But why would you
Dude,
assume my life is
off
privileged?
rips. It's only been 3 minutes. They're going crazy in
You
under
don't know my
3
life.
minutes,
I mean,
4
I don't
minutes.
say that about you. Why would you assume my life is privileged?
I'm privileged.
Okay, that's fine, but why would you assume my life is privileged?
For one, you're a man.
You know, most people commit suicide are men. Most people who work in dangerous workplaces are men. Most people who fight in war are men.
And who set that system up?
Yeah.
I'm going to ask the disagreeing to step forward.
Well, I think I give a unique perspective on this because I actually do agree with the vaccine mandate. I think COVID was just a huge disaster.
Oh, what? Wait. That actually is his son?
I do agree with the vaccine mandate. I think COVID was just a huge disaster, and I think it could have ended a lot
That's
sooner
based.
if things were more organized.
Definitely. As far as whether the government should intervene on people's bodies, I think there are a lot of instances where the government should. One, to protect the society in general, especially in cases such as a pandemic where the disease could literally wipe out cities. In other instances as well, such as drug use, I think the government should intervene because when you have a society that's addicted to opioids or crack,
Which is
spreads
also
like
very
wildfire,
true.
and I've seen it firsthand. It's very difficult.
You know,
to
Florida
control
had a very
without
bad
the government. Now, on the
epidemic
topic of
with a
abortion, sounds, very
created
complex.
drug.
And in
It was
general,
really
I
bad.
want
It
to
got
favor
stomped out
women's
immediately.
right to choose, but I think there's also a very fundamental question that both of you brought up: is at what point is a fetus a human or a person? Let's say a child is 8 months in the womb, and at that point, the baby has a heart, the baby has a brain, has legs, has arms. Do you think it's okay for that to be terminated? In your
Nobody
opinion?
is doing that. And nobody is having abortions with viable fetuses unless it is a medical emergency that will kill the baby and the mother.
You say that, it happens. You
My name is
say that.
Ben. I'm a business consultant for a telecom company, and I'm a liberal dad. When it comes to the abortion issue, I am not exactly sure where I stand. I am not pro-choice or pro-life.
My name is Dawn. I'm a regional sales manager for a dialysis company
I think,
as well as a therapist. And
you know, I'm not
a
gonna say what I
birth
think.
parent. As far as my views on abortion, to be honest, it just makes me very sad.
I think it's just very situational. I think at the end of the day, you should be able to choose it though, if you want to.
Backwards by taking people's rights away to choose what's happening to their body.
Not being an LGBTQ plus ally makes someone a bad person.
See, that I don't agree with. See, you could, you know, be like, oh, well, but at the same time, it depends on what you define an ally as. Because let's say, for example, someone doesn't agree, right? But they don't go out of their way to berate you or, you know, talk down on you. They just don't agree with your viewpoint. Would they still be an ally because they're not going against you? They're just not with you. Would they just be indifferent? See, but he's not a bad person because they're letting you live your life. They're just not agreeing with you. So I don't know. That's a really iffy kind of statement.
It's strong, isn't it?
Right,
a little
it's a
strong.
general way to put it. I would question someone's empathy.
That's it.
And their awareness of the other people around them, because I guarantee you know someone that's
Absolutely,
LGBTQ.
and their environment.
Right. Discussing the validity of the existence of other human beings isn't a political issue. That's like...
It's there. whether you
There's
like it
something
or not.
wrong with you
Yes.
if you like, no, trans people don't exist. Obviously they do. I would like
Well,
to
that wasn't
think
really
that
the
it's a
question, though, was
safer
it?
world
Yes.
to be LGBTQ, but that
Yes.
would be naive.
Of course.
People are getting murdered for being trans, you know,
yes. Yes.
and gay. It's scary. I have 3 kids. I have 3 boys.
Oh.
One of them is trans. I worry that, I mean, for however progressive a new generation seems, that, you know, I have to think about, will there be violence?
They low-key
done?
did,
Which,
they,
I mean,
like,
every parent
she,
worries about
or they
violence
did her
from
dirty
being
low-key with her
being
makeup a
parent.
little bit. It's kind of,
I've
like,
got
the
an
lighting's
extra-
not really
I've got
helping
a-
her.
I've got a new layer.
I didn't want to point it out,
My
but
child is in a wonderfully privileged situation where they have a lot of support.
Okay, that helps.
But as they get older,
As you
their
get-
circle
as
gets
your circle
wider,
gets wider,
and
you-
my sphere of influence gets less effective as
Yes.
they get older, you know?
all right, what's up, lady?
I'm Cindy.
Hello,
I am
Cindy.
a stay-at-home mom, and I am a liberal parent. One of my children came out as trans 2 years ago. Mine and my husband's response was, that's great. Would you like to go by these pronouns? And would you like to pick out a name? Let's make sure that we talk to a gender specialist so we know what options there are, and we'll just take this one step at a time. We'll move forward.
Dude, being trans
with
is
the
hard.
best
That's like one of the
information
hardest things you could want to do. It's really rough. So it's a really rough
I can
thing.
provide a unique perspective on this because I'm actually bisexual. So I think not being an ally, as long as you're not harming people, you're not harassing people, you're not posting on social media that these people suck, then I don't think you're a bad person for that.
As a Christian, I don't think that being LGBTQ aligns with God's view of the family. It doesn't mean that I will disrespect them in any way. I just think that it's a sin.
As far as your faith is concerned,
That's fair. I
what
mean-
would happen if your child came out to you that they were gay, bisexual?
I mean, what she
trans?
just said
I think that
is she's.
if the sin is not practiced upon, it's not a problem. It can be dealt with, especially with transitioning. It usually comes from mental problems like depression.
Yay! And you know, she
So you
doesn't.
think they can be kind of taught to not be gay?
No, I think
Pray the
it's,
gay away.
Do you support conversion therapy?
no, I don't think that.
Bro, let her talk. Let her talk. See, that's the problem. You need to let people talk. See, because the thing is, like, she's a devout Christian. You know, she's in her way. You gotta let her do her own thing. You gotta let her talk it out.
Anything. I would not ostracize my child, but I would not support it. Just like I don't support any sin.
So I think that if you want to be transgender, you could be transgender. We live in again, I said, a free nation. But if you're asking for my opinion, I believe that men and women are completely different. We have different chromosomes, different bone structure. If you are a transgender woman, I still view you as a man. You could express yourself as a woman, that's fine. But I don't believe that society should automatically, say, that, okay, you're a woman. Let's say, for instance, there's a 18-year-old biological man, but says that they are a woman now. They still have male genitalia. They could walk into a woman's locker room and show off their male genitalia. I don't agree with that. I don't think that's okay.
That's not happening.
It is happening, though.
That actually has that actually.
It's rare. It's rare though, but not even a trans. It could just be a creepy guy, like pretending to be.
Yes, creepy guys are. I'm in much more danger in a women's restroom from a cisgender straight creepy guy than I am a trans person.
That gives them the excuse, that's what I'm trying to say.
So do you support gender-neutral bathrooms, like women and men can go into the same bathroom? Do you think that could increase the chances of rape or assault?
They already exist. It's interesting that men are only concerned about this rape in the bathroom when we're having a conversation about trans folk.
But gender-neutral bathrooms just stem from this idea, though.
No, this idea that rape is going to suddenly go on the rise because of gender-neutral bathrooms stems from transphobia.
Oof, okay.
I'm Eden, I'm 16 years old, and I'm on the conservative teen side. I think that transitioning does more harm than good, and I think that we are born in the body that we're given.
I will say, while she's going, there are some cases where someone does it early and then they regret it. So I think if you're 100% sure, then it's fine. But sometimes it's better to wait on it, but it also kind of sucks, Like it's a. Wait, what was the question?
Owning a
gun is a basic human right.
a basic human right.
I mean, technically, you don't have like, you're not obligated to own one, but you're free to have one, right?
School shootings on the news and just shootings in general. It's horrible. This isn't like, Spider-Man's not going to save people. People have the right to protect themselves.
A lot of mass shooters target gun-free zones because they know there's not going to be a person who's going to fight against them or shoot them back. There's a lot of mass shootings at schools, and that's because schools have gun-free zones. I view owning a gun as a right to defend myself. You look at countries that have banned guns in the past.
Oh, look at that statistic. Look at that statistic. The shooting that just happened, that literally just happened, mind you, this happened in May, right? This was at the end of May. The year isn't, January, February, March, April, May. Okay, 5 months, almost halfway. Just a little under halfway of the year, right? 27. That was a 27th school shooting, and it's only been a little less than 6 months. That's crazy. That's actually super wild. That's super wild to think about.
You look at countries that have banned guns in the
that's
past.
Insane,
USSR,
almost.
Nazi Germany. You look
well,
at
not almost. It is
under
insane.
Mao Zedong. They stripped their citizens of arms so they could oppress them. And I think the reason why our founding fathers enshrined the Second Amendment is because they wanted us to protect ourselves against tyrannical government and to protect ourselves against danger around us too.
I think that from a woman's perspective, if as a woman you get into a dangerous situation, for example with a man, having a gun and knowing how to use a gun is the only way that will protect me. Having my tiny little pepper spray won't help me forever. I think definitely if you take away guns, the bad guys will always get their guns one way or another.
I live in Los Angeles, and LA has strict gun control laws. This is my perspective of it. I think LA has become a more dangerous city, and I feel very unsafe walking down the street just not armed. Crime is on the rise in America, and I think one of the ways to stop crime is by owning a gun.
I definitely think that there should be this control in place to who buys guns. You couldn't just be able to go to a store and buy a gun. There should be regulations into who buys guns and
who
shoots a gun.
The regulation is good.
I actually debated whether or not I was going to sit down because I do believe people have the right to bear arms. I do. My issue is what kind of arms they're bearing. I believe people should get to go hunt, but do you need a semi-automatic rifle to do that? I'll tell you personally, I'm afraid of guns personally myself, but I just think there need to be stricter regulations with it.
But the majority of people who die by gunshot are women in a domestic violence situation. So mass shootings.
Okay, at this point, she's kind of just pushing an agenda, low key. Like everything I don't know if you've noticed, every time she talks, she pushes it from one single perspective, and she uses that perspective and she wraps it around. Like she's not talking about it from like a third person, like kind of neutral ground area. It's always like masked with this is a problem for women, or men are the cause of this. It's never like an equal problem, and it's kind of weird. I don't know. It's kind of cringe, kind of weird, champ. I don't know. Like, it always revolves back around to it. I think guns are a dual multi-gender problem. I think every gender, race, sex, everything. I think that everyone can be hurt by guns. I don't know.
Definitely don't want automatic rifles. Against that. Nobody needs them. But the most dangerous gun is the one in your home.
I do want to ask you a question. Do you think that women should have the right to bear arms to protect themselves against?
Yeah, I'm not against the right to own guns. The prompt was, do you think owning a gun is a human right?
But do you think?
And I don't agree with that.
In my perspective, I grew up in a gun-riddled neighborhood. I myself am a gun owner now because of the fact that I had to create some type of means of self-defense.
So why did you disagree?
I disagree because I would prefer not to be. I think it's not a human right as much as almost a necessity for a lot of people. And not everyone. There's a lot of neighborhoods that are very safe, but even in a safe neighborhood, you can be robbed, you can be killed. I've been stuck up several times with a gun to my face, and all I could think of is, man, if I die, it's gonna be because I didn't have a weapon to help protect me.
Do you think that we should take away all guns from the entire world?
Yes, if there was like a magnet, like Magneto from X-Men, and he just suck up all the guns.
Honestly, that is perfect for a perfect world situation. And go back
My
to
political opinion.
used to call shoes, you man. Run up, get done up, Dude, imagine that. Every gun gets taken, everyone just starts getting stabbed. My political opinions have hurt my relationships with friends and family.
Have hurt my relationships with friends and
I'm
family.
assuming, yeah. At least half are gonna definitely walk up for that.
America got really politically intense, and my teacher, she was very politically active, and she wanted us to, speak our voices. And they found out I was conservative, and they said, okay, you're completely going against what we believe. Like, the whole school is very liberal, and I guess they just kind of pushed me away.
Did you feel like you would get bullied after?
I'll just get looks. Some people come up and say, you're a racist or you're xenophobic. They would tell me, oh, do you support Trump? But I just brushed it off. I told them, hey, I respect that you think like this. Please respect me.
I think that is, whether or not we have the same ideas, I think that is still an admirable quality.
Yeah.
Despite getting looks or feeling like maybe you don't belong.
Yeah, he didn't hit back, he didn't go down.
You have your convictions,
Yeah.
so I can respect that you're convicted.
Yeah.
I think being liberal, we think of the right as being stuck in the sand. It's interesting to hear that liberals were not having his right opinion. I think that everyone should have their opinion.
Well, I think we're talking about issues that aren't a matter of opinion, but a matter of your morality, the value of human lives.
Here we go.
I've had to personally block a few people on Facebook, family members.
Oh, wow.
Mostly men that are married to the women in my family. I'm like, hey, this conversation is really getting personal and hurtful. And if you carry on this way, I'm going to have to block you.
Were they harassing you?
I feel very harassed. Yeah, I'm belittled.
Were you ostracized, or was there someone that you...
I think on my end, it was myself. I understand people have different beliefs, and I respect that. And I think it's good for everyone to share their beliefs. That's the way we progress. But I think when people become ignorant or offensive consistently without any type of evidence or any type of backup behind that, that's the point where I say, you know what? I probably shouldn't be friends with you because you may smile in my face, but behind my back, you have a different sentiment.
That's pretty fair. Okay.
I haven't lost any relationships because me and my friends don't really dive into politics. We kind of just play video games and talk about comics together. I think if you lose a relationship over politics, that's kind of sad.
Unfortunately, it's a part of growing up.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully you won't lose any friends, but usually as you get older, you start to see those divides a little clearer.
I mean, you guys are older than us. Was it like this going back 20 years ago?
Politics has changed so much, and I think you touched
Yeah,
on
politics
it,
weren't
but
as big
now
back,
it's
like,
being
honestly, like,
associated-
a lot of
policy
times
is being associated with
you just
ethics.
let
I
your officials
haven't
handle
had
it.
friendships or relationships because I won't allow.
But I think
that
it's
to
good that people are getting
happen.
more
I believe
active.
that
I think that is
the
good.
majority of us, probably about 80%, are in the middle with varying degrees. And there are those people who are very, very conservative, very, very ultra-liberal, who are the outliers.
But I think it's subtle. Where you have somebody that you meet with on a regular basis, you talk with them, you have a good time. If topics get brought up, and it's a oh, okay, you're one of those. They don't tell you that to your face, but it's kind of subtle.
And also, I think with
The mood shifts. They're like,
media,
oh,
people's
I
opinions
see.
are a lot more out there.
I never understood why anyone posted political opinions on social media. I think it's just annoying.
Well, I have 3 kids. They know more about politics than I did
know.
when I was voting age.
It's annoying, yeah.
I think it's very encouraging because they're going to be more informed when they are of voting age.
I mean, yeah, it makes life more divisive. I mean, there's more arguments and stuff, and more relationships ending because politics is such a big part of life.
All right, Scott, lay it on me.
I am a liberal parent. I have many children. I have 4. My oldest daughter is extremely left-wing. My 2 middle daughters are roughly right in the middle there. And then Chase is conservative.
My name is Chase. I'm 19 years old, and I'm on the conservative teen side. My dad's Scott. We talk about politics, mostly gun rights and the government in the economy. We disagree, but we like hearing each other's side.
The
Which is
feminist
good. I think that is good.
movement is overrated.
What does that mean? I don't. What do you mean by that?
The reason I sat down is because feminism as we know it in social media and the marches is generally
I don't think I have anything to say about this. I don't
run
understand
by
the question.
white women, and we don't have a lot of intersectionality. Margaret Sanger. Yeah,
yes.
and
Susan B. Anthony.
Susan B. Anthony, total racist. The women that headed up the suffragette movement, they were not inclusive.
Of course, yes.
And they wanted rights for white women.
That's true.
And that thread has followed us to be very exclusionary to black women, disabled women, women of color, indigenous women.
I don't think that feminism in America is based off racism. The reason why there's more white feminists is because there's a higher white population in America. So generally, there's going to be more white feminists because of that.
I think that definitely.
Hey, that's a good point.
Feminists wanted votes for women, that women would be allowed to work, would be allowed to go to universities and such. I definitely agree with that, but I think that feminism has gone too far into saying my body, my choice, and saying that women are not all equal, saying that women are being suppressed by white men and such things.
No, we got a long way to go. There's just not enough done.
In America or just in the world in general?
Well, America, for sure. The world in general is a heck of a lot worse than America.
Yeah, I agree with you.
I think that women should be able to do everything that men can, but we also have to protect ourselves. So if you want to be a stay-at-home mom and do one of the hardest jobs on the planet, you absolutely should be able to do that. But you should also discuss with your partner and put in things into place so that you're protected if you choose to do that. Some women aren't doing that, like life insurance and things like that. I think part of feminism is being able to take care of yourself.
Capitalism
See,
is failing our society.
notice how that topic was so short because I feel like they just didn't really. The question was so weird. Like that was a weird question to ask. Like I don't know. Is feminism overrated? Like I don't. Or did it say modern feminism? What was the question? The feminist movement is overrated. I feel like that's just a weird question. Capitalism is failing our society. Well, I mean, our society is based on capitalism. So, realistically, I don't know.
Society.
That's just the way our system was based off of. And unless another system comes and takes its place,
System
then
that just values production, consumerism until you die doesn't work for anybody but a very, very, very small percentage of billionaires, and it's all baloney. The system is rigged to keep workers working, and the rich just keep getting richer.
Yeah, I think there could be some good in capitalism, which is like the innovation part of it. But in general, capitalism definitely sucks from the poor. There's a lot of industries that definitely shouldn't have any capitalism involved at all. The medical field, it's unjust that.
I will say there is a lot of stuff in place to make it not as fun being middle class or poor in a capitalist society. There's a lot of stuff, there's a lot of things in place to keep you down, and that is very true. That's a very true statement. I do think there are opportunities and ways to move up, but it is harder based on where you start at. Someone who's upper middle class, high class, are going to have a relatively easy time in a capitalist society, right? Because they already have the most important thing in a capitalist society, capital. You feel me? They have capital, they have usually connections, stuff like that. It's not as hard to make it in a capitalist society when you have the commodity that the society is based off of. And a lot of systems in place are really there to, you know, kind of self-regulate lower class people in a way, you know. It's just how it is, and things could change, but it only can change if people want it to change, you know what I'm saying? Instead of just saying they want change, you know, doing the change.
Certain people get better care than other people just because they're more financially
Maybe bad take,
well off.
maybe
Who
good
are they
take, who
to
knows?
Determine the value of life. The healthcare system creates such profit, and that profit is created off the misery of others, of the illness of others, including the prison system, where you have jails that are privately owned, because at that point, what you have is a hotel, and you want to fill up the hotel. Why would there be a business that profits off of crime? That doesn't make any sense. If you put profit ahead of people, people are going to suffer, obviously.
So you said like only the billionaires succeed in capitalism, and I gotta disagree with that because I'm the CEO of my own company. A couple months ago, I started a jewelry company, and I'm not a billionaire, but it's been relatively successful enough to I can make rent and go through college a bit. So I think there's people like me who own a small business who capitalism really benefits.
If capitalism isn't the solution, then what is the solution?
Do you want to hear it?
Socialism?
Socialism.
So the problem with democratic socialism, I mean, you talk about how capitalism hurts the middle class, but in reality, if democratic socialism was tried, the middle class are going to be paying way more taxes, not just the rich. You see, the rich don't pay taxes because they don't work. They make money off assets. The middle class, they work. And because they're working, they're going to pay more taxes under a proposal like Bernie Sanders or, I don't know, AOC or Ilhan Omar.
I personally am okay with paying higher taxes. I would
I'm
love
not.
people to make billions of dollars pay their fair share of
Dude,
taxes.
I'm not.
Increase taxes for a better.
Why not just make it so that if you're above a certain threshold, you just have to pay taxes on your assets? Why not just do that? Is that a groundbreaking idea? Is that a barn burner? Is that too bad of an idea? Because I'm not gonna kizzy. I'm not gonna cap. No kizzy capper. I don't want to pay more taxes.
Situation for people overall.
I'm good.
That is exactly what I stand for.
I'm not sure that socialism is the answer. Yugoslavia before World War II did okay, but they didn't do all that great, and they were taken over quite quickly. What I'm thinking is capitalism, although is not the best solution, is one of the best solutions for a democratic society.
Think about socialism, you think about wealth distribution. And then
Because capitalism gives you choice, and choice is important in a democratic society.
The ones that have less money become envious of those that have more money. And then money is it becomes a god because you don't want anyone else to have that money but yourself. And if you, for example, look at the Scandinavian countries, they have a capitalistic market, but they have a socialist wealth distribution. And that's why it works over there. And I personally come from Europe, so I have seen that.
So you think that works?
I personally don't think that works. I think it takes a lot of money from the rich and from the middle class.
My
All right,
name is
what's up, my
Nathan.
boy? What's up,
I'm
Nathan?
18 years old. I would like to ask the other side if they believe America is the greatest country in the world. If they disagree with that, I want to know what country they believe is better than America. I do believe it's a blessing and it's a privilege to live in a country that gives you the liberty and freedom and to express who you want to be.
The American dream is dead.
That's not true. The American dream isn't dead.
I gotta say, I disagree with the phrase American dream. An American dream for who? You know, the Native Americans we slaughtered, the enslaved people. I mean, this romantic idea that there's this dream is just basically marketing for capitalism.
I mean, okay, all right. Fuck what you gotta say. The American dream, in my opinion, is that you are free to do what you want to do that makes you happy, and you're able to thrive off of it. That's the American dream, being able to do something you love and being able to make money and be successful off of it. I think that's the American dream. You feel me? You heard me? You heard me?
It's very well funded propaganda, and has it inspired good acts?
Yeah, I'm looking at you. And I mean, of course, the American dream's gonna be a capitalist like notion. The society is built off of capitalism. That seems like a roundabout thing to say. Yes, that is true. That is true.
People to do good things.
Any truer? True.
Of course, because
True.
ultimately, in a large sense, humanity is good. But this idea of the American dream, I think, is I think the fantasy of it is being torn apart a little bit. And I think that's actually exciting, because it opens up room for something better, something more inclusive to grow.
I feel like the American dream is inclusive to all of them. I don't
think
know.
the phrase is kind of corny, but the idea that someone's like building themselves up in capitalism, I feel like that I kind of have done that a bit with my business. So I don't think it's dead.
I do think the American dream is dying, though. You know, the American dream now is not the same as it was 30 years ago. Have a family, buy a home, have a great job. But now it's very difficult to buy a home. Income has not increased compared to the price of a house. You know, I do think it's dying, though, but I don't think it's completely dead.
True, buying a house is very hard. If you have a house, you are very privileged.
Population, 14% of our population are immigrants.
It is very hard to own property,
I think they
to
all
own a
want to come
house.
to America.
Yeah, I think the American dream still exists, and I can speak firsthand because my family came from a third world country. But so does the American nightmare. The people suffering, not just here, but also around the world, due to policies, due to exploitation, due to colonization, due to
I like that term, American nightmare. I really do, actually. I like this guy.
It's
pretty based.
So there's a lot of blood on the United States' hand, and a lot of people don't want to leave their home country, but the situations that have been created there are forcing people to leave. Like, my mother would have loved to stay in Mexico, but unfortunately, due to poverty, which had a lot to do with NAFTA and what happened in 1994, directly caused by the United States, issues that created this migration. So is it a better opportunity?
We do cause a lot of problems that we fix.
People come here and we send our money
Just
back
remember
to
that.
our ancestors.
America solves a lot of problems, but we did cause a lot of them.
As an immigrant myself, I definitely think that the American dream still exists. We long for the opportunities that people have here in America, for the job opportunities that people have, the innovations that are available in this free market economy, this capitalist country.
So the American dream is in the eye of the beholder. If you're an immigrant or if you live here, it's different. It's going to be different.
I don't like the idea of the American dream, but I am a person who's still going to always believe in hope. If you work hard and you take advantage of opportunities, you can make a difference in your life. I mean,
True.
I love it. I'm so amazed by you. I think it's awesome what you're doing at such a young age. I am very, very impressed with you three. My hope for you is that you stay open-minded and that you're always willing to be learners and not just listeners.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
That's a good way to end that. That was good. Thank you. What's her name? Dawn? Thank you. That was a good ender. I like that. That was based.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Be a good lawyer someday, Nathan.
Thank you.
That was pretty based. Nathan for sure definitely does have lawyer vibes. Yeah. He has debate team lawyer vibes. He would definitely do well.